Welcome back. I am Eric Kane, and I am here to talk about the Rings of Power. The 7th episode, the penultimate episode, the second to last, the almost over, finally, good God save us from this terrible shit episode. In episode 7, we pick up where episode 6 left off, which is the Mount Doom exploding, thanks to the Rube Goldberg machine, that was activated with the sword hilt that wasn't a sword hilt, but actually a key that broke the dam, and the dam did the water thing, and the water hit the volcano, and it exploded. And the pyroclastic flow washed over the town and killed everyone. Except for that it didn't. I think Galadriel stared at it hard enough that everyone was saved, everyone except for Isildur's friend, the nice friend, not the asshole friend that likes to beat him up. You just knew they were going to kill off this guy the moment you met him, right? Like, this guy was not long for this world. So he's dead, but pretty much everyone else survives, that, you know, including tons of extras, lots of villagers, lots of, you know, just an enormous number of people survive this devastating blast somehow. Isildur himself, you know, they leave a question mark there. You know, was he lost in the village? Like, we see him, but it looks like he could have been crushed, and he's left behind, separated from the group. We'll find out more about him later. Actually, it wouldn't surprise me if they kill him off, because they've killed off another pretty important Lord of the Rings character, Kelleborn, the husband of Galadriel. So Galadriel and Theo go off together. They're separated from the rest of the group also. And Galadriel gets very, very chatty with this obnoxious teenager, and reveals, you know, that she's lost Finrod and that she's lost her husband, Kelleborn. Kelleborn, the last time she saw him was when he went to battle against Morgoth. And for whatever reason, we don't learn this until the 7th episode. You know, we get all this brother stuff, but we never get anything with Kelleborn. And that's the last she saw him. So Kelleborn's dead. But I'm going to make a separate video because I don't think he's dead. I think that realistically, they're setting him up this way so they can bring him back later and have this reunion of Galadriel and Kelleborn. And, well, you know, surprise, I'm actually alive. I hope you stayed faithful to me and didn't jump on Halbrand's bones. Which, you know, they're also doing it for that, so that they can create this sexual tension between Halbrand and Galadriel without it feeling dirty because she's married. You know, Lord of the Rings isn't about affairs. It's about sometimes forbidden or frowned upon romances, but never about, you know, infidelity. Anyways, the other survivors, Elendil and Muriel, they're the whole big group. They all make it back to the camp, which apparently they had a camp. They just didn't show us that last week. I'm not sure how they fit all those riders, horses, cooks, servants, tents, furniture, and everything else on those 3 ships, but they managed it. Muriel is blinded by the volcano, so that's another thing. That's the other casualty, right? The friend and Muriel's vision. Elendil is very upset because Isildur is apparently dead, and there's this terrible scene where he's talking to the horse, Isildur's horse, Beric, and he's like, "We have to go home to Numenor, Beric," and Beric's like, "Nay," and he's like, "Yes, Beric, please, Beric, we have to go home," and Beric's like, "Nay," and Elendil's like, "Oh," and then the friend is like, "He won't listen to you. He won't listen to anybody." And so Elendil's like, go free, ride to freedom, Beric. It's all very bad. So cheesy and melodramatic. It must be hard to film these scenes and not, like, laugh your ass off. It's just so bad. Theo is super obnoxious, and Galadriel rewards him for this by giving him a sword. So now he's got an Elvish sword, and he's like, "Oh, do you think I'm a soldier, Galadriel?" And she's like, "We will make one out of you yet. There's a tempest in you, Theo. Boy, I barely know. Here's an Elvish blade. Don't cut yourself. Maybe I should ask your mom before I give it to you. The last time you had a sword, you basically destroyed everything." So stupid. Muriel's like not upset like Elendil. She's like, "We're coming back. We're going to sail home. All our wounded are going to die on the 1,800-mile voyage, but we're leaving right now, and we're going to come back, and we're going to kick these orcs' ass in a few months. It's going to take a while." So they go off, but Halbrand's injured. And so then Galadriel seems very concerned about this. Finds Halbrand, and she's like, I thought you were dead. And he's like, I should have been killed. It would have been better for everyone because I'm... Oh, no, sorry. And she's like, oh, his wounds are so bad. He needs elvish healing. Elvish healing. He's coming with me. Everybody go away. I'm gonna elvish heal him. It's like a Marvin Gaye song, you know. I can't stop this feeling. I need elvish healing. So yeah, and then they walk out of the tent, and he's like walking pretty good and gets on a horse. He can't be that hurt if he can just walk out and get on a horse. And everyone's like, strength to the king. We all know the chants. Like everyone, we all learned these chants when we were kids. So like we're just gonna all say it at once. We just know. Strength to the king. And then like, you know, how do they know he's the king? Like literally nobody recognizes this guy. Where's his... I've talked about this before. Where's his castle? Where is Halbrand from exactly in the Southlands? Anyways, there's, you know, this episode has more than just the Galadriel Bronwyn storyline. Oh yeah, Arendir's in there. He looks pouty-faced at one point. That's pretty cool. Good stuff, Arendir. Keep it up. But there's the Harfoot storyline, and in that, like, they make it to where they were headed, and it's been hit by the volcano, which Sadik Burrows is like, the mountains explode in times of pure evil, and then he asks them if, you know, maybe the stranger can fix the blighted, burnt up landscape, and Nori and Poppy are like, no, we can't ask him to do that. So Burrows asks him. And then when he's casting his magic spell, like he breaks a branch, and they're like, oh, dude, you broke a branch and it almost hit somebody who shouldn't have been standing there. You are out of this caravan. Nobody stands alone except for you, motherfucker. Get out. And they send him away because they're evil little bastards. And then the next morning, lo and behold, his magic worked and they all feel like dicks. And although at that point, they're just like, whatever, he's gone. We're good. It's not until the weird Eminem sorceress cultist lady and the little trio of witches shows up. I'm going to call them witches because witches are usually hanging out around in three, you know, a coven of three. So that fits. They show up and they act all creepy, but they don't say anything. But when the Harfoots try to stop them, they take the fire from Nori's father and burn all their shit down. So these Harfoots have had a rough spell here because they were like, it's all burnt up. And they're like, oh, cool, it's all fixed now. And then now it's all burnt up again. So the next day, Nori's dad gives a rousing speech about how Harfoots, like, they stick together. And I'm not sure if he's like chastising everyone for being such awful people. And he's like, we should stick together. Or if he's saying that that's what he thinks they do. I can't tell. The writing doesn't make it super clear. But I'm just going to go with the admonishment. He is telling everyone to stop being such horrible people. And let's, like, look out for each other. So then Nori, Poppy, Marigold, and Burrows all set off to find the stranger and warn him of the stranger danger. And that's a wrap. The final storyline is the Mithril one. And this one drives me crazy. Because it's another instance of just absolute melodrama. I've decided that the showrunners included 2 Durins, even though there's only ever one Durin, constantly reincarnated. They included 2 so that they could argue with each other. They wanted conflict, so they created the Durin dad versus Durin son conflict because they like nothing more than to have characters argue all the time. So there's the Durin the Elder refuses Elrond's pleas for Mithril. He's going to trade with them for Mithril, and he's like, no, suck it, elf. You should all just fuck off and die. And younger Durin's like, Dad, that's really mean. And older Durin's like, you suck, you miserable little shit, and screw the elves. And then Deesa's like, dude, your dad is a real asshole. Like, let's just, like, we got to do something about this. And then they notice that leaf that Elrond brought gets cured by the Mithril. So this is important because it means that the Mithril stuff, the whole thing about the Mithril is true. That the Mithril actually does, like, bring the light back to the elves or whatever. So it's not just a trick by Sauron. Some people were theorizing, well, this isn't actually that lore breaking. It's actually, you know, this is Sauron tricking the elves, tricking Gil-galad. But no, this means that it actually works. So then Durin's like, okay, never mind. We're going to just defy my father. We're going to go open the mine. We're going to dig even deeper. Well, even deeper turns out to be literally one wall. He breaks through one wall, and on the other side is the Mithril. And then they're caught by Durin. Durin kicks out Elrond. He's like, no, seriously, I told you already, go die. Just go die. And then Durin and Durin argue again, and younger Durin basically calls his dad out as being like stuck in the past and like a shame on the dwarves and a real asshole. And then the older Durin is like, takes his crest off of him and throws it on the ground and is like, you're done. He basically it looks like he disinherits him. Which again, when he's talking with Disa later, she's like, he can't disinherit us. This is all ours someday. That Mithril's ours. Like, this kingdom is ours. She's kind of stone cold, actually. I like her. She's one of the few characters I actually like on this show. So I don't like that storyline. I don't like that Mithril is being used this way. No! Sorry, stupid dogs. And I don't like all the arguing. I don't like the two Durins. It's just Elrond and Durin are still some of my favorite parts of this show. Like they still have those nice bonding moments. There's still like Elrond revealing that he was only winded during the rock breaking contest or whatever. That was kind of cute. But I just don't like where they've taken it, where they've taken the Mithril storyline, any of that. And then we get, one scene of Adar in the Southlands, and he's like, we're not calling them the Southlands anymore. That was a terrible name. And they're like, what are we going to call it? And he's like, let me think about it. I'm going to tell you next episode. And that's where it ends. So as you can see, I'm not a huge fan of this episode. I've summarized pretty much everything that went down in it. I don't like the fact that they've killed off Kelleborn. I think that's ridiculous. I don't like all the melodrama between Elendil and the horse. I think the Harfoots have been portrayed so poorly, and they could have been a great part of this. Still, one of my favorite parts, the Elrond and Durin and then the Harfoots, are the most Tolkien-esque parts of this show, but they just keep bungling them for no reason. It's like unforced error after unforced error. So, let me know what you thought. Maybe I missed some stuff. I don't know. Yeah. Thanks for watching. I eagerly await to hear your comments and read your comments. And please like, subscribe, all that stuff. And I'll see you next time. Peace.